Okay guys, we're actually gonna get started in easy seat. So if you have a block, grab that. You can also sit on a pillow, or if you have like a rolled up blanket or additional mat, you can sit on that as well. So you'll just sit on something so that you can tilt your pelvis forward and get into alignment there. And then anything you want to do with your legs, my knees are on the floor just from the pelvic tilt that I've created for myself. So just find something that feels comfy to you. And start to just shimmy your sit bones on whatever prop you have, just grounding yourself down. Then just roll your shoulders down your back and take a deep breath in. And a big open mouth, sigh out, let something go. Just get settled in here. I'm rushing around all day, most likely. So just take a few moments to get settled in. So if you've just joined, we're getting started in easy seat. I've put a block underneath my seat. You can also put a pillow or a rolled up blanket or additional yoga mat, or you can roll up your yoga mat if you don't have any kind of props. So your choice, but it just helps get that nice pelvic tilt. And then just place your hands gently on your knees or thighs, whatever feels good to you. And just softly close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And a big sigh out, let it all go. These next 60 minutes on your mat are your time for you to be here. So anything that happened earlier today, earlier this week, just let it go as much as you can. Try to be present on your mat. And if you want to set any kind of intention for your practice, if it's just being present or releasing something, letting something go, being mindful, having gratitude for something, anything that comes to mind that would feel good for you, just take a deep breath in. And then a big sigh out to set your intention for class tonight. Very slowly on your next inhale, start to tilt your head over towards your right shoulder. And you might have tensed up your shoulders when you did that, so just try to roll them back down your back. And if you can, just keep your eyes closed. And you should feel a nice stretch along the left side of your neck, but nothing too painful. So if you've got any neck issues, definitely back off, listen to your body. With this pose and everything else that we do tonight, you know your body best. So anything that I'm calling out to you, if it's not feeling right, please honor that. But just see if you can just keep nudging your head closer to your shoulder, just to start to loosen up the tension that you've been holding on to in your neck all day. And if you're looking for more of a stretch, if you're sitting here like, okay, this isn't really doing that much for me, you can bring your right fingertips on the left side of your head to just gently nudge your head over. Don't yank on it, but just that extra weight of your palm might help give you a little bit more of a stretch. And you can also take your left fingertips and ground them on the floor and kind of push into the floor a little bit to also anchor you down and get you more of a stretch in the left side of your neck. So again, there's a couple variations you can take. Just find what feels good to you. Take it where you want to go. Breathe in here. Sigh something out. If you've taken any kind of variation by grabbing onto your head or anchoring on the floor, just release that very gently. Bring your head back to a neutral position. And then just bow your head forward so the crown of your head is facing towards the top of your mat, and just take your gaze down to your belly button or the floor, whatever is comfortable for your neck, just to help stretch out the back side of your neck. And then when you're ready, we're gonna go over towards the left side. So bring your head back to a neutral position, and then just drop your left ear towards your left shoulder. And again, if this is just not enough for you, you can add on by grabbing onto the right side of your head with your fingertips and then anchoring into the ground on this side. And each side's going to feel different, so just honor your body where you're at, knowing that you can take this as far as you need to, or you can back off as much as you need to as well. Keep using your breath here, letting your belly expand out. Breathe into the discomfort. And slowly on your next inhale, come back to neutral. And then on your own time, just take some neck circles, just going in one direction, looking down and then to the other side, pausing anytime you feel any tension. So if you are moving your neck around and you're like, oh, that's a little bit stiff, just hold it there for a couple breaths just to see if you can loosen that up a little bit. Each of us are built differently. We have areas of tension that are a little bit different. So just take it very easy from side to side. And again, pause anywhere that you feel any kind of lingering tension that you want to still release. Bring your head back to a neutral position. Roll your shoulders on your back a few times. Again, just bringing some mobility to our spine. And when you're ready, we're going to stretch our legs out in front of us for a seated forward fold. You can stay on your prop if you want an elevated seat. It will help you get deeper into your forward fold if you want. If it's not feeling good or you're just like, give me normal forward fold, you can certainly come off of your prop. This is your class. So if you decided to stay on your prop, you'll want some additional props just to bring your forehead down to something. So if you've got some additional pillows or blocks or anything like that, stack them between your legs. Inhale, take your gaze up, your eyes up to the ceiling, and then start to reach forward until you can't anymore, and then allow yourself to fold forward, bringing your forehead down to whatever props that you have. So if you need a couple of them, take your time setting yourself up. It's going to feel different tonight than it did last time you did your forward fold, especially if you've got really tight hamstrings. We haven't really warmed up yet tonight, so just be easy with yourself. Use props when necessary, and just find what feels good to you. And once you're there, I will let you know when we're about halfway through this forward fold. So if you are open enough, you might be able to move a prop or two, or just lower the height of your props that you're using, or just reconfigure them. So keep that in mind. But as you're here in this forward fold, just start to take some slow, deep breaths in, letting your belly fully expand out. And then releasing all of your air. And on every exhale, if you can just imagine that you're sinking more towards your thighs, so that your chest is just getting heavier. It's able to get closer to your thigh area. Most of us are not super flexible, especially in this pose. So that would just never happen for me personally, the way I'm set up with my really tight hamstrings. But you can still picture that in your mind of what that might feel like or look like, and that will help you just relax your lower back enough to open up your hamstrings to get you closer to getting down that far. Use your breath, send breath to any areas of tension. So for me personally, my hamstrings are super tight, and it doesn't help that I sit all day for my job. And now that we're home, I move even less than I did when I was at the office. I have a Fitbit and it tells me how little I actually move throughout the entire day. So I've been going on walks and doing some other things when I get off work, but I still not getting anywhere near the recommended step count, even with the added walk. So my hamstrings are extra tight in quarantine, and my low back is suffering from that too. So forward folds are just really essential, especially if you're kind of in the same situation, or you just notice that your mobility has declined since we've been at home, or since we haven't been out as much as normal. So just really pay attention to that. And throughout your week, if you can even just do a couple stretches throughout your day, pausing for a mindfulness break or even just a movement break throughout your work day, it helps a ton. Just think about that as you're imagining here that you're opening up things up. And we're halfway through. So if you feel like you've opened up enough, you can drop one of your props or drop the height of a prop. Or if you're like, this is still so intense and I don't want to do anything, just hang out where you're at. The beauty of yoga, the practice, and you can show up in any way that feels good to you. Back to your breath, and on every exhale, just imagine again that you're sinking down further into your seat. So just breathe out, sink in, let your belly expand on your inhales, and then just again breathe out and imagine that you're sinking deeper. I know this is some of your least favorite pose. So if you're gritting your teeth or holding on to extra tension in your jaw while you're resisting this pose, just really try to soften the muscles in your face. Bring some breath there. We won't be here forever, I promise. Two more rounds of breath here, taking in what you still need from this pose, releasing out anything that you don't. Your next inhale, slowly start to make your way out. We've been in this for a while, so this might be quite uncomfortable to get out of, but just do your best to take it as slow as you need. And if you're on that prop still, just come off of that. And I recommend bringing your hands behind your low back, bending your knees, planting your feet on the floor, and then just windshield wipering your legs from one direction and then the other. Just again, because we've held on to that for so long that, you know, our low back is probably needing some movement here. And then when you're ready, we're gonna get set up for deer pose. So you're definitely gonna want a pillow or two. So grab onto those. I'm gonna use two to show you guys, but if you've got like a bed pillow or just a bigger pillow, you just need one. But you'll set up your pillows to either side of you. I'm gonna demo with my pillows to the left of me. So it might be flip-flopped on your screen, but you put them to the left, you're gonna bring your left shin to the front of your mat. So the pillows or prop will be next to your left thigh. And then your right leg, you're just gonna tuck behind you so that your heel is in towards your glute. And then your left foot is near your right knee. And when you're ready, you're just gonna start to twist over towards your left-hand side, so towards your prop. So if you're opposite, just go wherever your props are. And this might be where you wanna hang out. If you've got a lot of low back issues or just too much today, just stay here. And when we're halfway through, you might want to venture further. But if you're wanting to go further into this, you can just start to crawl yourself down so that your chest and your forehead fall onto your pillows. And you can either bring your gaze over towards the right-hand side for a more gentle deer pose, or if you want a full spinal twist expression, you can take your gaze over towards the left side. So you do what feels right. You can also switch it out halfway through. Your call. You guys know your body's the best, so find what feels good here. But just surrender to whatever it is and lower all the way down. And when you're there, you can just close your eyes and you should feel a twist happening in your low back and also a stretch on the right hand IT band area. So again, just find what feels good. Soften into it. If you are holding on to tension in your upper body to try to hold you up, just surrender into your props. That's what they're there for. You shouldn't have to hold yourself up here unless you did the variation where you're just twisting and you have it come down. But even then, you've got your seat to hold you up. So again, just find what feels good, or as good as it can as you're holding this. And we're halfway through already, so just use your breath here. And if you want to swap out the side of your face that's on your pillow, you can certainly do that, but try to stay still. That's the beauty of restorative. It is the more that you can stay still, the more you can get into the connective tissue of your muscles to open stuff up, to create more mobility and flexibility. And it's why it's called a practice, because we're continually just working on things. And again, each day is going to be so different. So even if you practice yoga every single day, one day you're going to get super far into something, and then the next day it's going to be like you've never done it before in your entire life. So meet yourself where you're at. Don't let your ego get in the way. If you're having a hard time with any one pose tonight or all of the poses tonight, just use your breath. It's here for you. One more round of breath here. Taking in what you still need, letting go what you don't. And slowly, when you're ready, just start to make your way out. And we're gonna take this on the other side. I'm gonna move all my props because I wanna face you guys still. If it's easier for you to leave your props where you're at and you can just face the other side of your mat, go for it, whatever you wanna do. Your call. But I'm just gonna switch my props out so that they're next to my right side. And my right thigh is going to be lined up next to my props. My right shin is parallel with the side of my mat. And then I'm tucking my left heel in towards my left glute. And once I'm there, so get yourself set up there and then start to twist over towards the right hand side. And again, this might be enough, or you might want to continue further. Find your props and bring your chest down. You can bring your gaze over to the left, just for a more gentle version, or to the right for the full spinal twist. I will warn you, it is intense, so you might want to wait until you're open a little bit and then halfway through switch it over. But your call. Take what you need here. And each side's going to feel a lot different, so just be mindful of that. Might not be as comfortable on this side, or maybe this side's a little bit easier. You're halfway through already on this side. So if you do want to swap out the position of your neck, take that. If you're good where you're at, just really try to soften into this more. So pay attention to if you're holding on to any tension anywhere, if you're feeling any tension in your upper back, your neck area, or your face, just see where you can soften in. And if you feel like you're good everywhere, just really tune into your breathing. So try to start to really mindfully slow your breathing down on every inhale and every exhale, and just really filling your belly up so it fully expands out as far as possible. And then if you want to, you can hold for a beat or two and then start to release all of your air, and then hold on the empty, just so that you know that you have gotten all the air in that you possibly can, and then you've released all that air all the way out. And elongating our breathing like that really just helps ground you, brings you to the present, and really starts helping you to calm and relax. So just give that a try if you're up for it. Few more rounds of breath here, taking in what you still need, releasing anything that you don't. And when you're ready in your next inhale, start to slowly make your way out from the side, and you'll just move your props off to the side of your way and come back to a tabletop position, and bring your knees out wide, your toe tips to touch, sink your glutes towards your heels, and then start to extend out for a child's pose. You can also take embryo here if you would prefer to do that, and I will walk you guys through that in just a second. But if you're in child's pose, We want this to be a passive child's pose. Some of you might be used to extending your arms all the way out and keeping your forearms off of the mat, but try to keep them grounded just so that you can relax more into the mat. And then bring your forehead down to something. So if you can bring it down to the mat or down to a prop if the mat is not accessible to you. If you want to try embryo or child's pose is just feeling like it's too much for you tonight, you can bring your knees in together and then allow your chest as you fold forward to really rest on your thighs, and then bring your forehead down. And then you can bring your arms with either palms faced up or down next to you. So just depending on what feels good, you can also grab onto your heels here just to really get into that. It's a good alternative if child's pose is just not your jam tonight, or you just want something a little bit more mellow. You can try embryo. So just pick what feels good there, but just the important thing is that your forehead is resting down on something just to get that pressure on the middle of your forehead. It's really good for calming and relaxing. If you're ever having a really bad panic attack or anxiety situation, putting a little bit of pressure in the middle of your forehead really, and focusing on breath, really does help to ground you in really crazy situations. So try that if you ever need something to help. It also is helpful if you can come to a child's pose if you're needing one, but I know that's not always an option, especially if you're out somewhere. So, using that technique of just pushing that pressure in the middle of your forehead, it just really helps calm you down. But soften in here, really start to relax any muscles in your face or areas of tension that you might still be holding on to. Again, paying attention to your breath, seeing where you can slow down. And we're halfway through, so if you've done any kind of variation that you need to take on the other side or want to switch it out, if you've come to embryo and want to go to child's pose or vice versa, you can certainly do that here too. You've let your mind wander, just try to gently bring it back to the present of what you're doing right now, this time that you're spending on your mat for yourself. It's so hard to do anything these days, and even logging into Zoom just seems like so much. So just be so proud of yourself for signing up for yoga, logging in, making it on your mat, and giving yourself this gift of an hour to yourself to just reset, to undo from your day or your week. It's the easiest thing to push off when we're busy or we're just overwhelmed with stuff. So, really try to be here. And that will really help you also pay more attention to your breathing and pay more attention to any areas of tension in your body, which will help you really calm and slow down and get ready for the rest of your night. Take one deep breath in, and a big open mouth sigh out, let it go. When you're ready Start to come out of whatever shape that you're in, back to that tabletop position. And we're gonna take sleeping swan or pigeon pose. So if you wanna take this on your back, you can certainly do that. But if you're going to take the traditional posture, you'll just start to slide your right knee in towards your right wrist. And then move your right shin so that it's as parallel as possible to the top of the mat. And you'll bring your right knee in towards your left wrist. Extend your left leg out long behind you. And this is where you might need a prop underneath your right hip area just to bring the floor closer to you. But just take a peek over your right shoulder to square your hips down towards the mat. Inhale, take your gaze up. Exhale, start to crawl yourself forward to put your pigeon to sleep. So you might need a prop underneath your face just to come down to something. You can always bring your head down to your forearms. If you want to take this on your back, you can certainly do that instead for a different variation. But find what feels good to you. Pigeon is a tough one. We store a lot of tension in our hip area. Mine are particularly tight this week, not only from all the sitting I've been doing, but this has been a crazy week for us. We went to go, well, my husband went to go drop our son off at daycare yesterday to find out that it was closed for the week. They typically close in August for a week before the quote unquote school season starts for deep clean and stuff, but because they were closed for so long, we thought, and they never had said anything to us, we thought that it wasn't happening this year, but surprise to us it was. And now that my husband's back at the office, we need childcare because I'm working full time too. And yeah, so that our normal routine that we've gotten used to, this new routine and got into a new group, it just totally was thrown for a loop yesterday. We figured it out. Thankfully, Jeff's parents are really close by. But today I had to solo mom and work here by myself, and it was intense. Especially in the morning. Afternoon wasn't so bad, but just trying to keep my kid alive, not put him in front of the TV all day, and also get work done was very stressful. And I just, instead of thinking of all the stress that comes with all of that, I started to have gratitude for the fact that we can do that. We're in a position where, my son can be here with us and I can experience seeing him a lot more, and that my job is flexible enough to allow that to happen. So it's like all those things that, usually you're like, this is the worst thing that could happen. I'm just really trying to find the gratitude in the chaos, and it really did help a lot. I can't say that I was totally stress-free, because that's definitely not the case, but it did really help. And I used my breathing and I used my techniques that I share with you guys in yoga to just get through this day. And I just could not wait for yoga tonight because I needed it so bad too. So thank you guys so much for showing up tonight, giving me an excuse to really get out some of this stress as well. And we're more than halfway through this side. Hopefully my little story helped you forget about pigeon pose. But wherever you're holding on to tension right now, just really start to see where you can send some breath. And you may have had a crazier day than I have, but just try to find those little nuggets of gratitude of, sure, it was crazy, but something good. You're on your mat right now, so that's something good, right? So just trying to find that stuff, finding those good things. And if you can't think of anything good, Come back to your intention or your reason for being here tonight. Coming back to your breath. One more rounds of breath here. Taking in something good that you still need. Letting go of something that you don't. And very slowly on your next inhale, start to make your way out of this, which might be a challenge, so be easy with yourself. But come back to that tabletop shape. Might feel really good to extend your right leg back and really push into your toes so that you get a full stretch on the back side of your leg. You can also do some hip circles here in one direction. And then the other just to help loosen up and bring some blood flow back to that side. And on your time, when you're ready, we're gonna just take that on the other side. So your left knee will come in toward your left wrist. Bring your left shin parallel to the top of the mat or as parallel as you can. And then your left ankle in towards your right wrist, extending your right leg really long behind you. Take a moment just to take a peek over your left shoulder, square your hips down to the mat. Inhale, take your gaze up, and then exhale, put your pigeon to sleep on this side. And again, each side's different. This might be your easier side, or maybe the other side was easier. So if you do need a prop, you can shove a block or a blanket or pillow underneath your left hip area just to help take some of that tension off of your hip. Just find a shape that you can try to create some stillness in. And again, our hips are where we store all of our stress and tension. And so if you've got really tight hips like I do, this pose is very uncomfortable. And it might be hard to stay still. And you might have the instinct to fidget, to move as much as possible, just because staying still in this pose is just not fun. So try to stay still. Challenge yourself to do that. Also challenge yourself to send breath to those tight areas of tension. And as you're laying here, just imagine that you're undoing all of the damage that you've done to your hip area throughout the week. So if you've just been storing stuff because you've been super stressed out or worried about something or just had a lot going on, this is your opportunity to just let that go. You don't need to carry all of that around with you all the time. And as easy as it is to just suppress and fester over stuff and just keep piling it on until it's just too much. Just going back to your yoga practice and trying to release that as you go throughout your day or just throughout your week. Just seeing where you can soften into it and opening up to create more space for some really good stuff to come in. So just really try to breathe in here. We're halfway through this side. Use your breath. is your friendly reminder to breathe. That we've been holding on to your breath or not paying attention to your breath because you're paying attention to the sensations that are happening in your hip area or just other parts of your body where you're a little bit tense. Just bring some awareness back there, seeing where you can elongate your inhales and exhales, where you can send some breath to soften any areas of your body that are still really tense. And we're almost done with this pose. So hopefully that brings a little bit of a smile to your face. Just take a deep breath in and a big sigh out, let it go. One more big breath in, breathe in something good. Breathe out something that you don't need anymore. And slowly on your next inhale, start to make your way out of this side. So again, it's gonna feel different. Then the other side, you might be wanting to do something different. Extend your left leg back, really push into your toes, or taking those hip circles in one direction and then the other. Any organic movements that feel good to you, take them. And when you're ready, we're gonna come down to our backs. So just slowly lower one vertebrae at a time. You are gonna want a prop, or we're gonna do supported bridge. So before you head all the way down, grab onto something. So if you have a block or a book or pillow, works too. But you'll come down to your spine and you'll bring your heels in towards your fingertips so that you can lightly touch your heels with your fingertips. And whatever prop you have nearby, you'll use that underneath your sacrum. So just lift your hips up enough to put your prop there. And if you've got a block, there's a couple different heights to your block. You can play around with what feels good. You might need to wiggle around a little bit to make sure you've got it in the right spot. I always extend my legs up to the ceiling and then lift my arms up. And if I'm not wobbling all over the place, I know I've got it in the right area. So you do what feels good to you. And bring your hands to your belly. Roll your shoulders down your back and just softly close your eyes. And while you're here, just to really start tuning into your breath, pay attention on your inhales, if your belly even moves outward at all, and if not, can you mindfully make that happen? And then you might want to hold at the top when your belly is fully expanded out. And then as you exhale, bringing your belly button in towards your spine, releasing all the air out. And then try to hold on completely empty at the bottom. And then expand out again through your inhale. So it will just really help you tune into your breathing and also start to slow down your breathing a little bit. So just play around with that if you would like. And if that just seems like way too much work right now, you can just be mindful of your breathing. But if your eyes aren't already closed, softly close your eyes. your mind already wandered somewhere else, just gently bring it back. No judgment. Just really start to pay more attention to your body, things around you, sound of the music or my voice. Take a deep breath in, let your belly fully expand out. Exhale, release. And your next inhale, just lift your hips up enough to slide whatever prop you have out of the way and release back down. Bring your knees in towards your chest and tee out your arms. On your exhale, start to bring your knees over towards the left side of your mat. And your right shoulder blade likely popped off of your mat, so just try to get that back down on your mat, anchor that down, and then take your gaze over towards your right fingertips for the full twist. And you might want a block or a blanket underneath your left knee or in between your knees just to help out your low back. But wherever you're at, just softly close your eyes, breathe into this twist. Seeing where you can soften, and if you can, imagine on every exhale that you're just twisting deeper, as if you're wringing out a dish towel or something like that, where every exhale just really try to twist even more in your upper body. We're halfway through this side, so if you need to make any adjustments, you can do so, but try to stay still. Just breathing into the twist. Seeing where you can still soften and relax your body, and also tune back into your breath. And if you're really struggling with doing that, paying attention to your breath, you can physically pay more attention by bringing your left palm to your belly, just to feel the rise and fall of your breathing and pay more attention there. Slowly, on your next inhale, bring your knees back to center. You might want to grab onto your knees and just gently rock from side to side. And then when you're ready, start to bring your knees over towards the right-hand side of your mat, and your left shoulder blade likely popped off of your mat, so just seeing where you can rotate your upper body to allow both of your shoulder blades to still be on the mat. And then once you've gotten to a good spot, just take your gaze over towards your left fingertips. Softly closing your eyes. And if you want to, you can bring your right palm to your belly. Again, just to start to pay more attention to your breath. We're halfway through on this side, so if you do need to make any adjustments, you can certainly do that. Just really trying to slow down your breathing. Letting something go on every exhale. Imagining that as you're laying here, anything that you've still been holding on to is just washing away on your mat. And as you move on through the rest of your evening, you don't have to carry that around with you anymore. Hopefully you feel a little bit lighter as you carry on with the rest of your night. Take a deep breath in. Big open mouth, sigh out, let it go. On your next inhale, bring your knees back to center. And just softly rock from side to side. You might want to come to a happy baby pose by grabbing onto the outer edges of your feet. And again, you can stay still or rock from side to side just to loosen up your low back. And on your own time, when you're ready, you can find a final resting shape in Shavasana. So I know I recommend this to you guys every week, but if you do have a wall nearby, I highly recommend legs up the wall. Just bringing your glutes as close as the wall as you can, and then extending your legs up the wall just really helps with resetting your circulation in your body, and then also really helps with insomnia and sleep issues. So if you have had a lot of trouble sleeping, it's a really good pose to use. And if you're not feeling that, or you just want to take traditional Shavasana, you'll just extend out to a comfortable shape and bring some awareness to your body. So if you're holding on to any tension anywhere, just see where you can roll your shoulders on your back, or just Maybe you want some props underneath your knees to release tension there. And soften all the muscles in your face. And enjoy these few moments of rest. Shavasana is here for you as long as you need tonight. You're in your space, and if you want to continue to rest and pay attention to your breath, please tune me out. I will close Zoom and you can continue to relax and restore. But if you want to be woken up enough to move on with the rest of your night before you do head to bed, just bring some awareness back to your body by wiggling your fingers and your toes. And then perhaps you just roll from one side to the other, just for a brief stop in fetal pose before you make your way up. And then gently push yourself to a seated position on your mat. Bring your hands to heart center and then just softly close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. Big open mouth sigh out, let it all go. Breathe in something good, something that you still need for your week. Breathe out something that you no longer need. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I hope you all sleep well and feel reset for the rest of your week. Namaste.